Well, it's always a bit nerve-wracking to be up front, and despite me having done a fair bit of being up front over the years, this is actually the first talk I give to an order-only audience. So, so I apologize in advance if some of my points are a bit too basic for you. Anyway, my theme is celebrating the Buddha. What I have chosen, how I've chosen to approach it is to, well, when I was thinking about the theme, I was thinking, how does one celebrate the Buddha? And what I'll tell you a bit about is how I celebrate the Buddha in my life and in my practice, or as part of my practice. I'll give you a slight bit of background, not my totally dark past, but as you might know, I live in Denmark. I am the only order member there, and I'm the only Danish order member in the whole of Triratna Buddhist order. I met the Dharma when I was 20, and it affected me very, very deeply. Someone made the comment that, in a way, you know, it's pretty fair to say that the Dharma is the love of my life. But it has certainly not felt an easy path to tread over the years, for all sorts of reasons. At the moment, I struggle in a different way than I've struggled before. But I guess one thing I struggle with is how to create conditions that are supportive. And I guess also I'm very aware of the gap between me and enlightenment. And one of the things I'm noticing about being here is just how much conditions make it easier. You know, there's very, very supportive conditions here. There's only order members. People use my order name. No one makes fun of me being a Buddhist. No one makes fun of having a religion. No one makes fun of living by your values, which might be very normal for some of you. Yeah, you want a bit of time? I can try and speak a bit louder. Shall I speak here or just louder? Here, yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically where I live, I'm very fortunate in that I come from a country that is fairly well off. We have free education. Women are, you know, it's not an issue to whether you're a man or a woman. Actually, men are campaigning because they want more designated paternity leave. That's the big thing, you know. But it's hard to be the only order member in a country, and also it's in a country where, well, I don't know if it sort of lends itself to really be deeply committed to a spiritual path, actually. Certainly when I've met Danish people abroad, they say good luck when they hear that I'm practicing in Denmark. So anyway, how does one celebrate the Buddha? Well, one way, I guess, or maybe it's the best way, I don't know, we can talk about that. But one way for me to celebrate the Buddha is to put his teachings into practice, really. And to try and use him as a living example in my life or in our lives as order members. And for me this has become quite a practice. And I was thinking it's almost become a bit of a Buddhanasati practice, you know, reflecting on the Buddha. But I guess the way I do it is a little bit unusual, or I don't know, maybe you all do it this way, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway, in case one person finds it useful. So, yeah, I try and really bring the idea of enlightenment right into my life, rather than make it abstract and distant. So the way I try and do that, the practice I've developed, is simply to ask myself, where is the Buddha in this? So where is the Buddha in this? So you could do it right now. Where is the Buddha right now in your experience? Yeah. So I use it as a question in almost any situation when I am aware of it. I bring it to mind. But the most interesting and challenging is when I am finding something difficult. And as you might have the same experiences of being met with stereotypes in the world where people say, oh, you're Buddhist, you're so calm, and, you know, harmonious, and well, that is not always my experience. Surprise. Often, actually, I find the conditions I live under makes me have a far from calm and content and happy experience or response to the world. Sometimes I hear a very familiar record of feeling sorry for myself, of being irritated, lonely, defensive, whatever really, you know. So where is the Buddha in all of that, really? I'll try and tell you a bit about how I practice with that. There is a saying, I think it's Pema Chodron, that says practice is about becoming a connoisseur of our neurosis. Yeah? A connoisseur, someone who really, really knows the detailed taste. Yeah. I'll say it again. So a connoisseur is someone who really, really knows the details of something. It's usually to do with taste, yeah? So you can be a wine connoisseur, so you know all the fine nuances of something, yeah? So Pema Chodron invites us to be someone who knows the fine nuances of our neurosis. I'm also a fan of the little Belgian detective Hercule Poirot, yeah, because he has this thing. He's a Agatha Christie character, I think, and whatever happens in his detective stories, he always says, "How interesting," you know, whatever. It's just anyway. So how does that connect with the Buddha? I think one way it connects with the Buddha for me is that, well, when I'm thinking, where is the Buddha in this? It's like an invitation to, well, in a way, notice where am I blocking? Where am I not aware? Where am I pretending something? Where am I pushing things away? And I guess often the first thing I notice when I ask, where is the Buddha in this, is there are so many layers of my samskaras just kicking about all the time, you know. Often they are telling me what type of experience I should be having and judging the one I am having. So where is the Buddha in this? So sometimes I find that the Buddha in something for me is simply just trying to notice what is actually going on. Yeah? What is my experience at any one time? And with that, there is a sense of trying to hang loose to my preconceived ideas, my prejudice, just let them fall away and be curious what is actually here in the moment. And try and meet whatever experience I have. See if I can meet that with metta and interest. So when I do that, often another aspect, when I ask myself, where is the Buddha in this? And usually I ask myself, where is the Buddha in this in places like when my neighbour is playing very, very loud music, or when my other neighbour is shouting very aggressively and throwing his furniture around, which happens on a regular basis. So you might guess a few of my preconceived samskaras that kicks in at times like that. Where is the Buddha? Yeah? Where is the Buddha? So another aspect I notice in this practice of mine is the aspect of unhooking the me from any experience I'm having. So trying to notice how an experience becomes unique and special because it's mine. And sometimes I manage to unhook the me enough from the experience to just try and see, could this be what it's like to be human? So maybe this is what confusion feels like, or heartache, or impatience. So what I'm experiencing is not me or mine, it's just human experience. And if I can stay with that, then it becomes a really, really amazing gateway into interconnectedness and compassion. So it's a bit like the Kisagotami story that we had the first day. Well, I can ask myself, do I know anyone who's not felt lonely, or not had heartache, or not been impatient? Yeah. So this leads to another aspect that I've come across in my homemade Bhujana Sati, which is realism. When I've been looking for the Buddha in something, what I often come across is realism. So where is the Buddha in this? There is a really big aspect of realism that comes out. And with that I mean that the Buddha is incredibly realistic. The Buddha does not take things personally. But the Buddha sees deeply how Pratitya Samutpada works. That things really do arise in dependence on conditions. So having a body means suffering. Having an unenlightened mind means suffering. That samsara really is samsara. It's impermanent, it's insubstantial, and it's unsatisfactory. In a way, what a relief that is. You know, we're not doing anything wrong, that's how it is. Yeah. So why do I do this practice? Why do I do this sort of, where's the Buddha in this? I'm not quite sure when it came about, but there's something to me about the Dharma that it has to be usable, otherwise it's a bit useless. If I don't know how to, well, it's, I mean that in actually really positively, because it's like, if this isn't changing your life, why bother, you know? And if this isn't getting us closer to enlightenment, well, you know, maybe we should do something else, really. So I guess I feel that I am making a lot of effort in my everyday life to really deepen my practice. I still feel there is a long, long, long way to go, so that's sometimes a bit disheartening, but I do feel that I get somewhere in my practice, I guess. And sometimes I think it's that sense of, where do I get stuck, or where do I feel despondent, or what do I turn away from? And actually that's where, if I can't use the Dharma right there, you know, if I can only use it when things are nice, or when I'm on retreat or something, my Dharma life would be very, very limited. Most of my life usually is quite challenging conditions, inner and outer. you know, I'm fine, but it is challenging trying to be an order member when your nearest order friends are quite far away. We have order weekends twice a year in the Nordic region. That's when I meet my order friends usually. Last year I had 5 order members visit Denmark in a year. That's more than I had in the entire time I've lived there. So, you know, it's sort of, it's different from some of your lives, I guess. I don't think that it's different in the sense that I think we all experience suffering and we all experience our human mind at play. So I think wherever we are, in a way we can use this. If you want to, you can try. Where's the Buddha in this? And the reason I find it inspiring is because it reminds me that in any moment there is a gateway to freedom. It's not like I have to get somewhere else to find it. It's right in sometimes when my crazy neighbor is throwing his furniture around. That is a moment of freedom, yeah? So it's not when I get on the retreat next year with the nice teachers. I love going on retreat with nice teachers, and I couldn't have the practice I have if I didn't do those things. But I couldn't be a Buddhist if I couldn't use the Dharma in my everyday life either. So I think for me what's very, very important with this in terms of celebrating the Buddha is that sense of an invitation really, even for us as order members, to think, how am I getting my practice into the places that I feel despondent about, or that I feel stuck with, or complacent about. And I mean, as any other Dharma thing, you can try it out for yourself. But like in a moment like this, you could ask yourself, where is the Buddha in this for me? Where is the gateway to freedom right now? Is that you're a bit bored? Is that you've had an upsetting conversation with someone earlier? Or, you know, whatever. Just see, is there anywhere where you feel a bit stuck? Or where you feel a bit grasping? Or feel a bit despondent, you know. When you see people sitting in the cafe having nice conversations, is there an old samskara kicking in about, I'm outside? You know, where's the Buddha there? How do you change it? So yeah, for me, celebrating the Buddha is something that feels very, very tangible, actually. I can't get on very well with reading about some person that, in a foreign language, like some of my friends, they love reading the Pali Canon in Pali, for example. That's never really been my thing. Great that they love it, because we need that as well. But I think that, but you know, but I think the thing is that I just find it, I really, really want to invite everyone to just feel that we have all we need to practice the Dharma, and to sort of be curious and play a bit with it, see how can we get it more into our lives. And it's fine to get it wrong, you know. Don't know how we get it wrong, because you just try and then you try again and you try again. And I don't think we're going to get it right until we actually have gained enlightenment. So, you know, it's sort of, yeah. So there's I guess my invitation is a bit that sense of how do we translate these amazing values into something that's very, very useful on a moment-to-moment level for each and one of us. How do we overcome our fears, or how do we just even meet it and say, how interesting, you know, yeah? So yeah, I'm very, very happy that I met the Dharma, I met Buddhism when I did. I'm very, very happy to have chosen this life that I lead. I won't say I'm always happy about the struggles it creates for me, but I can't imagine a more meaningful life, and that is because I can use it in my everyday life. When I feel stuck, when I feel whatever, lost, lonely, despondent. And when I feel really happy and really connected, there's the Buddha is right there as well. Yeah. So it's not like it's only in the dark or the bright moments, the Buddha is there. Yeah. So I really invite all of you to just invite the Buddha into your life. Invite the Buddha into every moment that you are happy to have him in. And feel inspired and helped by that. Because, I have. So for me, that's a way of celebrating the Buddha. Thank you.